people always ask me, like, okay, what do you do for a living? And my response is literally, I'm an entrepreneur in the food media space, right? So I thrive on building ecosystems that make people feel comfortable around food, and I monetize each level of those particular ecosystems, right? So I don't look at myself and go, I'm in the food service industry. I look at myself as a social media influencer who's built an ecosystem and has monetized that ecosystem, right? Because without this idea of a brand, without this idea of an ecosystem, Darius Cooks does not exist. So all of the energy and effort that I put in
look at somebody else's page, get inspired. Don't, and get your ideas. I'm not even gonna say don't copy, because that's why we're here. We're here to inspire you, to make you want to take what we did and make it better, right? That's what we're here for. So at the end of the day, continue to get inspired by other people. Always put out content, great content. Social media is huge. I got my first NBC pilot because the producer watched my Instagram all the time. They watch my Instagram, they see my food, and they just decided, like, damn, we really want you to be on this NBC television show. Because you looked at my Instagram, because I was consistent, because the color looks great. Stop putting up these fucking pictures of this food where the camera is fuzzy, it's moving. Be intentional. You know what I'm saying? Like, be intentional. If you're gonna do it, do it. That's all I'm saying. I'm not judging. But if you're gonna do it, if you're gonna do a video, let it be crisp, let it be clean. Let
I want to walk into it. I can cook what I want to cook. I don't really have a budget for food. I can cook what I want, how I want. The people that I'm working with, they love me, and I'm making good money, and my name is out there a little bit, And man, I just look at it and I'm like, damn, I have finally won the damn lottery. You know what I mean? And wow. And just like you put that dollar and you pay that tip.
What's going on, everybody? Hold on, let me get my thing off of here real quick. We was doing Zoom, but now we're on StreamYard. So we stream across like 4 different platforms right now. I think Instagram is lit, YouTube is lit, my personal page is lit. We green across the whole board. We got people in the comments already. Let's see who's on here right quick. Talk about who's in here right quick. Shanice, what's going on? From Buffalo, New York. I've never been to Buffalo before. Got to get to Buffalo. Been up through like the 5 boroughs, but never have gone to Buffalo. That's a little north, way north, actually. I think it is. Iceman, what's going on? What's good? Thank y'all for tapping in. So listen, this is Chefprenure Academy. I am Chef Jay Ponder, the founder of Chefprenure Academy. Today we're just going to talk about what it is, what the program got going on, kind of some offerings, opportunities that you can get into. Hopefully you'll sign up today, join our community. And as the weeks go on, we'll have more information, different chefs on here to talk to as well. As you saw the intro, I do know a lot of chefs. I don't know a lot of chefs, but I know a lot of chefs, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of these chefs are famous or infamous. But they all got a story. They all got a story on how they got started in the industry. And they all have the same kind of path of what got them to that location, how they get there, hard work, determination, some of the same benefactors that makes you a chefpreneur. And the term chefpreneur, I would say it's not as popular as entrepreneur, but for those of us in the food service industry, especially working for ourselves as entrepreneurs, whether it's private chef, whether you were a caterer, or whether you work in a restaurant, fine dining, QSR, which is quick service restaurants, any facet of the food service industry, Chefprenure Academy can help you get to the next level. I just want to start by, again, saying I'm Chef Jacoby Ponder, the founder of Chefprenure Academy. I want to talk about my mission statement, of Chefprenure Academy. There's a couple key things in here that may or may not apply to everybody, but I'm pretty sure it apply to people that I know in the food service industry. And I've worked in every facet, by the way. And I'll talk to you a bit more about my resume, if you will. I'm looking at myself on Facebook to see what the quality look like. You know what I'm saying? Quality control is important. Might need to get an antenna or a booster, something like that for this. But anyway, I'll talk more about who I am. For those who don't know, if you have any questions while I am having this conversation, hop in the chat, the comments, whether you're on Instagram or YouTube or Facebook, tap in with me and just watch how this show grow. It's a platform for us to have a conversation and discuss certain things of the industry. Food cost control is a big thing. Leadership is one of my big things that I like dealing with. Whether you, again, working inside the industry, working for yourself, you have to have leadership as well. You have to have a certain kind of grind power, man. Like, it takes a certain individual to work for themselves. And as I've talked to a lot of chefs over the years, one of the questions that I ask chefs are, name 2 people that you know personally that have retired from chefing. And typically nobody can name anybody. I'm not talking about people who, work for in the corporate sector and have retired after 30-something years of being a chef, but people just generally who are great cooks and great chefs who work for themselves mainly. And it's very rare to hear about people in the industry retiring too. Do they retire in the industry? Of course. But my point is, those of us who work for ourselves as entrepreneurs, chefpreneurs, those who are catering for themselves and meal prep, any type of facet where you touch food and you don a chef jacket at some point. My question to all of you are, name 2 people that you know who have retired from chefing. And typically the answer is nobody, because this is an irretirable industry. You just cook and then you die. And when that hit me one day, I'm like, dang, we gotta do more than just cook and retire. I mean, cook and pass away. A lot of people can cook very well. But when you sit down and have a conversation with them, like I do most of the time, is asking what their goals are. At the end of the day, what do you see yourself going in this industry? What do you want to do with your skill set other than cook? And I know some people who just want to cook, like literally, they have no aspirations of running a business legitimately to where they're earning money. I know a lot of chefs who've been cooking for beyond 20 years at this point, and they just still want to cook, and that's great. But for me, personally, I'm 41 and I've been cooking for a long time. And I'm noticing that certain body parts of chefs or anybody standing on their feet, whether you're a hairdresser or barber, just certain parts of your body starts to hurt and break down a little bit quicker than other parts, like your feet and your knees, your back. And then I looked at the fact that there's no plausible type of insurance. I don't mean for your food, just for the person that's cooking the food. There's the type of benefits package or anything for chefs who are just cooking indiscriminately for everybody. So part of my reason was to be Chefprenure Academy. That's one part of it. The other part was I'm a veteran, and while I was in the military, I was a cook also. But when I came out the military, I didn't really know how to take what I've done in the Navy for so long as a cook and translate it to the civilian side to know my place in the culinary industry outside of here. So that was another reason also. I know a lot of chefs, a lot of Navy military cooks, period, who got out of the military, who were cooks in the military, who may have had a passion for it. That passion rather died out while they was in the military, or now they got out and they realized or at least they seemingly can't compete with what's already happening between TikTok and Instagram. And these chefs are doing leaps and bounds to food what was happening 25, 30 years ago. Doesn't make them a better chef, it's just more visibility. So again, Chefprenure Academy, I felt like it just had to be something that was an in-between of culinary school and leadership academy. And that's what Chefprenure Academy is. I don't deal with too much of culinary arts in the way of cooking. By the time you sign up for my program or get invested in my program, I would like to think that you already know how to cook to some extent. You're coming to me for operational things, how to run your operation, how to scale your operation, how to grow your business. Am I charging enough on my invoice? I'm a new personal private chef or a new caterer. Am I charging the right price as chef? Like, how do I earn money? And one of my biggest things is, as chefs, we'll do gigs, we'll do a catering, a wedding here and there, and, may have a study client consistently on some stuff, but we don't really earn the type of money that we deserve. And I think that chefs have a hard time translating, how do I charge for my time and services? I know chefs personally who shared with me privately that they're what they charge. I'm like, oh my God. And I'm cringing because they're not even charging appropriately. Here's what's happening. They're charging to get the gig. And people take advantage of chefs or caterers sometimes, to where if there's a wedding, a person will plan their whole entire wedding and think about the food last, meaning they spent their whole entire budget on everything but food. And now when it comes to the food part of it, some chefs and caterers I know personally, they get nickel and dime, but they're so excited to just get the business, to like gain the business. They're so excited at the opportunity to show off their food on Instagram and to show off their setup, and to where at the end of everything, they made no money. But Chefprenure Academy is here to change all that. Like, I'm here to kind of be that, what's the word I want to use? That lighthouse for those who cook and want to earn money. And you don't have to be a chef either to be a part of Chefprenure Academy. Like, you don't have to be a chef at all. You could be somebody with just the inkling of wanting to know how to cook or how to open a business. And at this point, I've done private consultation for about 3 or 4 restaurants. And not for all, but for most, there's a common thread where the people who are opening these restaurants are not chefs. There's some private conglomerate group or a group of guys or individuals who got together and decided to open up a hookah lounge, and they have to have food in there. So they feel like it's a restaurant. The one thing I noticed that chefs are also not doing correctly is, not only are they not charging for their food correctly, they're not charging for their time appropriately either. I don't think most chefs consider that when you take a gig, when you take a catering gig or a private chef gig, you got to take into account all that time. All the time that you were on the phone from the first conversation to making the menu to writing out the grocery list to going to get the food. And 9 times out of 10, if you're a private chef, you're going to multiple stores. You're not going to one store to get everything. And if you are, great. But most cases, private chefs have to go to several stores. Are you charging for your mileage? And 9 times out of 10, these conversations I'm having with chefs, they're not charging appropriately, or they're undercharging. And again, they're doing it on purpose to get the gig. Now, they got the I'm booked and busy situation, but you're not making no money. So if you're a chef or a caterer, the business is slow for you right now, and you're seeing other chefs kind of, got a gig every week, or appears to be that way every week. There's something that Denzel Washington said. He said, don't mistake movement for progress. Don't mistake movement for progress, because they appear to be got it going on doesn't mean they're progressing. So all that said is right here. This is meant to be a platform for chefs, cooks, food service members, anybody in the industry, front of the house, back of the house, hosts, owners, doesn't matter. If you're in the food service industry, we have a connective bond, kind of like those in armed service. Like, there's an unspoken brotherhood, sisterhood of us in the food industry. And I'm just here to fulfill a need in the marketplace where I can offer my wisdom and my guidance, what I've seen and done over the past few years. My resume personally, military, so cooking for 5,000 people to cooking for 12 people. Fine dining, line cook, sous chef, executive chef, food beverage director. I've done that a couple times. I've done a production manager, which is real interesting. I think that all caterers should take a look at a production facility, a food production facility. And I was fortunate to be part of a group who did food production for Delta. Those little gray carts that go down the aisle, that was production for us to get. It was a ridiculous number, like 600 and something carts in a day. So I learned how important it was to organize your kitchen, scout talent while you're in the kitchen to know who's strong in what area, and to constantly just motivate your team to hit those daily quotes. Also is a challenge. So production manager, food and beverage director, executive chef, sous chef, personal private chef, caterer. Worked on cruise ships. I've probably done every facet of food service, except for hotel. I did hotels, Hilton, worked at the Hilton also. So I worked at the Hilton. I've actually taught culinary school, Stratford University, at Athens Technical College down in Athens, Georgia. So I've taught culinary on a collegiate level. I've taught it on my own through Chefprenure Academy, through just motivating people. And I've worked in every facet of food service I could think of. I'm sure there's a couple left, but that's my story. What we're going to do is kind of talk about Chefprenure Academy. What is Chefprenure Academy? What is Chefprenure Academy? Sorry about that. What is Chefprenure Academy? Facebook is lit. Appreciate it. Jerry said, "What's up? What's up, brother?" Chef John Maxwell is one of the chefs I know who retired. Another chef. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that it's not known for chefs to retire. I'm speaking as a collective. I know Chef Maxwell too. He's been doing it for a long time. I'm not sure about Chef Mike Morphew. I'm not sure who that is, but Chef John Maxwell been in the game for eons, man. Wealth of knowledge. So yeah, chefs do retire. I'm not saying chefs don't retire. I'm asking at large, name me some chefs that you know who have retired. That's a good example too, Chef Maxwell. So anyway, Chefprenure Academy, the mission of Chefprenure Academy is to educate, inspire, and motivate cooks to become professional chefs, working, thriving, and expanding their gifts to reap the rewards of their strategic utilized talent. That's the mission of Chefpreneur. Every company, every business, every fashion have a mission statement. And that's my mission statement. Particularly the first sentence or two is to educate, inspire, and motivate. Like those three things are, I would say, the three pillars of Chefprenure Academy. And tonight is just kind of me introducing it to some of y'all and reintroducing it to others about Chefprenure Academy. I take it serious. This is my baby. I love it. I mean, I have some deep ties to it because I'm prior military and I've been around a lot of cooks and chefs in my sojourn that can use this information. Like, appreciate it. We're in the building. I like this. It's got me excited because we like lit across 3 different platforms right now. I really can't see what Instagram is doing. I'm not sure how to work that option. Instagram is a new option. Oh, it says I am live, so over there. But anyway, I'm just excited about the comments are coming in. I'm excited about it. So let's tap in real quick to what a chefpreneur is. I'm gonna pull up a PowerPoint while we're going over this. Feel free to ask questions in the chat. Let me know some concerns. If you're concerned about anything in your area, expertise as a private chef, caterer, put those questions in the comments. I'll see them. I'll get to them and ask them. See, I'm on my other Facebook too. So a lot of my friends and families are over there. I appreciate y'all for tapping in with me. Appreciate y'all a lot. this is what support looks like. I'm live on my main Facebook page, which I hardly ever go live over there, hardly ever. But I am today. So that's that. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Let's talk about what a chefpreneur is. Let's drop some jewels on y'all. A chefpreneur is someone who has been trained, educated in culinary field, but does not limit oneself to just cooking in the kitchen. And again, that's what I was saying earlier. A lot of people I know, they love to cook, love food, they love to cook, love to be around food. Saturday morning, they're up at the marketplace looking at different mushrooms and so on and so forth. And that's great. That's not what we are. Like Chefprenure Academy is not a culinary school. Like you've already had culinary training of some sort, self-taught, graduate, whatever the case is. That's great. Never going to talk about the business of being a boss, like running your operation. If you want to go work in the kitchen for somebody, fine. I encourage you to go do that, get the experience. But at some point, you should want to be an owner of your craft. And this is what Chefprenure Academy is leaning towards. A chefpreneur is a chefpreneur and a business person, always looking for ways to grow, learn, and expand his or her craft and talent to meet the needs of the ever-changing demands of the marketplace. The marketplace changed dramatically about, 3 or 4 years ago, 3 years ago during COVID, when all the restaurants closed down. I know 2 chefs personally who had to close their doors forever. Sad sight, but it happened. So the marketplace changed dramatically during COVID to where we had to figure out what to do. Luckily, Uber Eats and other facets were born out of that necessity. Chefs switched from weddings to meal prepping, production, again, back to that production role. Meal preps went crazy. A lot of other things went crazy with food. TikTok blew up out of spawned from that era. People just posting food and what they eat and what they're doing with food. And so a lot of things happen because of what took place in the marketplace, but the marketplace is yet changing again now with health, nutrition, and diet. People are much more aware of nutrition and dietary needs due to the pandemic. People are now smart about what they put in their bodies. So chefs have to, again, pivot what we're producing, what we're making, buy local, eat fresh. There have to be another type of catchphrase we do now. Now, has that changed across the board? No, because people still putting cheese on everything. So it didn't change too many people or too many chefs, but for those who are pioneers in the industry, they adapted and they made the change. Food cost is now going up, right? It used to be where you can go to the grocery store and cook and save money, but now eating out in grocery stores kind of the same a little bit, especially with people now understanding what's in our food, how the food is being processed, which 30 years ago, 40 years ago, it wasn't known to everybody, the masses. People didn't know about food, not saying that, but to the masses, people didn't know. Food Network changed the game, the industry for a lot of people. Bravo and all the food TV shows that people were forced to watch through COVID, not forced to watch, but they binge watched through COVID. So people came out of COVID with a whole new academic way of looking at food. They knew terminology. They knew how to sear. They knew how to do things now that 40 years ago, people didn't really care about. So the food industry has changed a couple of different times in my lifetime. Knowing how to adapt to those changes is what makes you a chefpreneur also. How to adapt and overcome. The chefpreneur is creative, inventive, hardworking. He or she relentless pursues more business opportunities while aligning partnerships and positively affecting communities. This is something I saw a chef talk about yesterday on Instagram. She had mentioned that I had no idea. In the chef world, there are gatekeepers. There are chefs who are gatekeepers, kind of like what Cat Williams was talking about in the comic community. In our community, I was made aware that they're gatekeepers. But the point I'm making about that is you want to align yourself with the right people, align yourself with the right chefs. There's a lot of great chefs out there that are doing a lot of great things that you can align yourself with as a chef, or maybe not a chef. Again, this is for anybody in the food service industry. Maybe you're a local farmer, or maybe you have a local honey, or maybe you have a local something that's pertaining to food that you can align yourself with other chefs with, and build those partnerships. I encourage that. Chefpreneur characteristic. A chefpreneur, again, is hardworking, creative, energetic. You have to have energy. It takes a lot to keep pushing, beyond pushing. Optimistic. Got to have faith. That's a fancy word for having faith. You got to see the glass half empty sometimes, right? Frugal. Got to be frugal with your money. Smart, wise with your money. Invest in things. We'll talk about that a little bit more as well. Got to be a team player in this industry. You can't do it all by yourself. Leadership is one of those big things that I like to talk about more than anything. Enthusiastic. Again, just having that energy, that drive to be a chefpreneur is always great. Chefpreneur curriculum segments. I do have a curriculum. I mean, I'm not going to show you the curriculum right now. I'm going to give you the website information to go to the site and get one of my workbooks that will lead up to you guys having a curriculum. The workbook is a great introductory situation to anybody that's interested in Chefprenure Academy or who's already a chef. Just want to, hey man, how do I get started? What do I do? Where do I go? Chefjacoby.com. Go to the matter of fact, let's just pull it up while we're on here because we can do that. Just take y'all right to it right now. Share screen. That's why I love being on StreamYard, man. So this is the web page right here. It's under the education tab. You go over to chefjacoby.com, click the educational tab, and it'll drop down for you and give you a little bit more insight. That workbook is on there. That's what I was trying to show y'all, the workbook. The workbook is right here. This is Kitchen Leadership Volume 1, multiple volumes. Get your copy now. It's only $12.99. There will be several other workbooks. Tells you about Chefpreneur Academy. Again, the mission, and that's me, 2018. Boom. We sold a couple of workbooks already, so I'm pretty excited about that. So again, anybody in the food industry want to get involved, want to learn more about kitchen leadership, definitely go to the website, chefjacoby.com. Click on the educational tab, and that page will pop up for you. Take a look at that and get a chance. All right. So back to what we were saying about the curriculum. I feel like giving y'all a little backstory of the curriculum. So as most of y'all know, I do cooking classes. If you don't, I offer adult cooking classes as well. And as a part of my couples cooking class, in this particular class, I had a young lady. She was a Master Chief in the Navy, a mate Master Chief. And she wanted me to mentor a group of active duty Navy cooks. I agreed to it. I said, of course. And myself and my partner, Stephanie Woods at the time, we literally came up with this thing overnight, like in a couple of days, like 48 hours, I want to say. And we put it together, but it was already God ordained for it to happen because I was able to not only teach the curriculum that we put together in those couple of days, but I was able to influence these 20 cooks to where they went back to the ship, USS Ford, and they encouraged other cooks to sign up for the program. We had, I think, a class of like four different classes, FSO, SUPO, everybody came out to the situation. So at that point, I knew I had something. And that was kind of the short and sweet of how I really got into the chefpreneur situation. Definitely be sure to grab those workbooks and check it out. So again, I really don't go too much into like culinary when it comes to like knife cuts, stuff of that nature. By the time you sign up for Chefpreneur Academy, hopefully you've already had this information. However, I do cover some of it, but not all of it. Knife cuts, food production, knife skills, fabrication, food science, soup and stocks and sauces, just the basic fundamentals of culinary is what's covered also. This is the juicy part that most chefs and cooks have to understand more in the industry. Purchasing, how to properly purchase your food, where to purchase your food from, or procure your food from, inventory, how to build recipes, Food costs, which is a big one. This is a big one that most chefs that I talk to and know don't cost their food out. They don't take, and there's a whole formula for those of you who don't know. There's a whole formula for costing your food out. It's very time consuming, and they got software for it too. They got software for it. It would take you about 2 days probably if you had a real nice menu structure to really go plug all the numbers in to get your actual food cost. And the point of food cost is, one, so you can charge the customer the right price, and for two, for you to try to make a profit off of what you're selling. And there's a whole combination of things that goes into this food cost. There's labor, there's overhead, there's a lot to go into it. So you just don't, put money out and money comes back. Very hard. Most restaurants don't survive after the first year and a half for that very reason. Food cost analysis, you want to always stay on what's called your P&L statements, making sure that you're bringing in more profits and loss in any business, private chef, caterer, restaurant owner, no matter what it is. Production management, that's again, organizing the kitchen, telling who's going to be where, and so on and so forth. The production management is also a huge part of any food operation. One of the biggest parts of it. More the same. Cannot talk enough about purchasing power, inventory. If you own a restaurant, purchasing is real intricate because you get to choose your own vendors. As a personal private chef, sometimes, or small catering businesses, we have vendors, but it's like Restaurant Depot and Sam's mostly. Those are really not, food vendors, and they're sort of creating accounts. In some cases, you can create accounts with these places. But speaking for the average personal chef or private chef who's getting hired to do these one-off gigs here and there, they're relying on a grocery store. So purchasing power is very important. Inventory. I don't think most private chefs or small catering companies have much of an inventory, but if you're a restaurant or a huge chain operating, inventory is very important. And if you're in an executive chef role, one of the questions I ask other executive chefs, because I actually have hired executive chefs before for situations, is what was your last managed volume? If you're not familiar with that question, what is your last managed volume? That means the last food account you was at, what was the managed volume you had on hand? Like, what was your total of inventory you had on hand? And most companies, for chefs to make those big 6-figure salaries, and we'll talk about it as well. Chefs don't make a whole lot of money, but there's opportunities for chefs to make a whole ton of money. So a lot of those chefs make those 6-figure salaries. Most companies look for you to have managed between $1.5 and $2.4 million in managed inventory. What that means is the bigger your operation, the more your managed volume is. So if you've successfully been an executive chef for a small mom and pop's diner, not a chain, just one location somewhere, and you're an executive chef and you're in the black with the numbers, that's great. But your managed volume is probably so small that it's manageable. Imagine working for a hospital, a very busy hospital. And hospitals are based on the number of beds they have in the hospital to give you the number of the volume of manageable food you should have on hand as well. So big operations like that, your managed volume is a little bit more. Inventory, very important. Food costing, again, is very important. Not sure why it's on it twice, because it's probably twice as important. How to build recipes. How do you build recipes? How do you create recipes? This is one of those daunting tasks, again, that most chefs or cooks hate doing. They can cook the food very well, and this is the difference between cooks and chefs, which is an ongoing argument all the time. What is a cook? What is a chef? Right? All chefs can cook, but a cook can't chef type thing. Chefs have to manage numbers. Chefs have to kind of look down the road a little bit. Chefs have to be able to work every station in the kitchen. A chef has to have the ability to think when everybody is done thinking. A chef has to be there early and has to stay late. That's what being a chef is. A cook comes in, get instructions, they cook their portion of what they got to cook, they clock out and go home. That's typically how it works with a cook. So in this case, understanding how to build recipes is so important to your operation. How to build your recipes. What ingredients can you substitute to save money? And it's a lot of shortcuts out that people are utilizing as well, which I'm not a fan of the shortcuts, but if it works for your operation, it works for your operation. If you want to make everything from scratch, take a look at your labor costs. What is it costing you to pay those people or that person to sit there and chop everything up from scratch? Can you buy things already prepared versus making everything from scratch? You probably could to speed up production. So All those questions are intricate when you're building a recipe. And of course, you got business development. I won't go too much into business development because I want you guys to definitely get that book. The Kitchen Leadership talks a little bit more about the business side of things, and this is side where I see a lot of us lack in our areas of expertise. Not everybody, just most people I've talked to over the past 20 years, which is a lot of people. And I've observed people too. Like I've been in situations where I can observe an operation, and within the first 15 minutes of being in operation, I can tell you if the operation is working or not, or if they're going to fail or not. I'm not saying I'm the best at what I do, but I've been around it enough to kind of know. And this is what Chefprenure Academy is offering. This is what I'm offering you all is my 20 years of expertise and multiple sessions of multiple volumes, and then me offering my time, my services to talk to chefs and cooks one-on-one, which I do offer it as well now. You want to shoot an email over? Put the email up here real quick. You can send me an email and we can arrange a time where we can on a Zoom. Maybe you don't want to talk on here. Maybe you want to talk to me one-on-one. And maybe you got questions. Maybe the questions are embarrassing. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Which is, it's all good. But we can set up a one-on-one session. Chefs, cooks, food service workers, doesn't matter. Food service attendees, front of the house managers, back of the house managers. It don't matter. Everybody. And if I don't know the answer, I can find the answer for you. Okay. So tap in for that one-on-one session with that part of it. But definitely take time. Check out Chefprenure Academy via chefjacoby.com. Click on the button. I'm going to show you again. chefjacoby.com. Click on education and go right to Chefprenure Academy. Scroll down and that'll be the workbook. Workbook Volume 1. The downloadable link. It's not a hardcover, not yet. We do have hardcovers coming. So check me out, man. Thank y'all for tapping in. I greatly appreciate everybody for tapping in today. You'll probably see this spinning on social media for the next 7 days. So if you see it, just like it again or share it again to anybody that's a chef, cook, chefpreneur in the food industry, whether you're military, retired military. I know the program looks like it's just for military. I was just fortunate enough to be able to teach. It felt good doing it too, because, you know, I'm a prior MS, CS, culinary specialist. So it's felt real good to kind of give back to those. So if you see the program, Chefprenure Academy over social media, don't think it's just a military situation. Don't think it's just for active duty military members. It's for everybody, anybody, food service workers, chefs, cooks, everybody who kind of want to take their game to the next level. I'm talking about personal development, you know, just motivating people to keep going. This is a hard industry to keep up with, guys. And I want to be one of those first platforms to kind of those cutting edge platforms that can change the industry, change the game, change the industry standards a little bit, you know, motivate chefs. Chefs were never looked at to be like a glamorous job until a few years ago, like for real. Like 1940s, 50s, 60s, you had a handful of chefs who were kind of prominent on the stage, mostly European chefs who were, and I really truly mean from France, like they were like the bee's knees. Food Network helped change the culture. Other food shows helped change the culture. Reality food shows helped change the culture of culinary. Now I'm looking for the next innovative path of least resistance to keep us motivated or working our butts off. So definitely check out Chefprenure Academy. I appreciate everybody for tapping in. If you have any questions, shoot me an email or visit chefjacoby.com. Click on the educational tab, please. Chefprenure Academy is right there. Click on the workbook and every more. Every Tuesday, I'm looking at bringing on somebody new, a chef that you may know, you may not know. But I'm gonna do my due diligence to bring on chefs that people are pretty familiar with. That way, you know, it makes the message go over a lot easier. But there's a lot more material on my YouTube page, more material coming to my website. It's going to be more of me on camera talking to you guys about how to break down food, more of me how to handle leftovers, and anything you guys can think of. Send me an email or go to my website and send me an email. And hey, chef, let's talk about this next time. Give me some ideas and topics to go through, and there'll be much more coming from me with Chefprenure Academy. Again, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Follow me on Instagram, Chefprenure Academy on Instagram. Join the Facebook community page. Your Facebook community page is going to have a lot of this exclusive content in there, like for real. Chef Nikki, no problem. And it's just tip of the iceberg, Chef. Like, I got people who work for Cisco for 15 years. I'm going to tell y'all like the game on best way to procure a vendor. Some exciting things that Cisco, PFG, and other vendors have coming up too for those of you working like the industry. So please share this. Let other chefs know, other people in the food industry know that there's a program out here for everybody. It doesn't cost you $100,000 to get this information. The workbooks are on sale right now. Go to the website. It's gonna be plenty more workbooks coming up. You are able to book me for a one-on-one session. It just be you and myself, one-on-one Zoom call. I do have packages that are coming out too. So you guys start seeing the flyer with the packages circulating as well. Take a look at those packages and let me know, because I'm real serious about this too. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not a gatekeeper. I'm not going to hold the information to myself. It won't do me no good. People who know me know I love to teach. I love to pay it forward. I love to give back. So Chef J. Ponder, thank you again. I appreciate it. Just to wrap up, follow me on Instagram, follow me on Facebook, join Facebook community when I'm going to drop some exclusive content. As a matter of fact, the Facebook community, if you join, I'm going to drop the interview I did with Chef Treguet. If you're not familiar with Chef Treguet, man, Google her. And I have a one-on-one interview with her and a couple other personalities that you really know, that you've seen on Facebook. But I got Chef Treguet. I'm dropping an interview I did with her a while ago. It's only going to be available in the community. So you have to join the Facebook community page to watch the content. You may see teasers and trailers floating around, but it's all to get you to go back to the community page to check it out. Like, the interview is dope. It's like an hour and some change. Chef Treguet, I met her a long time ago in Atlanta, and she's just skyrocketed, man. She took off. I mean, a restaurant chef, and just took off. But her story is phenomenal. I got a one-on-one interview with her. Tap in with me to be a part of that experience. Join the Facebook community. Chef Ponder, I'm out.
People always ask me, like, okay, what do you do for a living? And my response is literally, I'm an entrepreneur in the food media space, right? So I thrive on building ecosystems that make people feel comfortable around food, and I monetize each level of those particular ecosystems, right? So I don't